Hello and welcome back. This is part 7 of the ZF5HP24 rebuild. Those of you who have watched the other clips, you might have noticed that we're on the completion stage of the reassembly. What you can see right here is me torquing up the bell housing bolts. This is quite incredible that we're at this point in time. In a sec we'll be cutting to next stage, which is see, I'll be laying the gearbox down so that we can have a closer look at the test plate. Now the test plate is a part that ZF built. It's normally made out of aluminium. It's normally about 1/4 inch thick or 6mm. We managed to make one out of perspex, and if I just take that off, you can just see how we've built it. It's they show you a rough sketch of the thing in the book, and from that sketch I thought I would have a go at making one, and this is the end product that I've just put on. Basically it's got holes in it, and you can actually use those holes to activate the individual servos with compressed air, so you can check to see whether or not the gearbox is going to be functional before you finally fit it to the car. And so that's what I did. I put the test plate on here, and then applied compressed air to the holes in this plate, and checked each individual servo to see that each clutch activated, and when I was happy with that, then we could take the test plate out and then carry on with the rebuild. And the next part is obviously putting the valve gear back on again. And just here I've got the 2 white neoprene O-rings. These are actually for the little plug that goes through the outside of the casing, and on that plug you can see there's a couple of old O-rings. I'm just taking those off, and then the new ones, as you can see just on the corner there, I'm going to pop those on, and that goes straight into the corner of the gearbox. When it's in, you'll see that it's got one single clip that holds it in, but it's quite critical, this part, because if you don't get a good seal on the plug, there is oil behind it and it will seep out through there. There we are, they're just going on now. They're a bit fiddly, these little things, but they make all the difference if you replace them. They are in fact part of the master kit that comes with the gearbox, so you know, it's very much part of the rebuild. I'm just going to apply a little bit of the grease to the hole inside the actual gearbox, just so when I slide the plug in, you can see that it's going to be fitting a nice tight fit without any damage to the O-rings at all. Now, this is the valve gear. It's quite a hefty unit. Believe it or not, when you actually turn the engine off, a lot of the oil comes back from the torque converter, and it submerges all that under oil. So I'm just putting the plug in the hole underneath. That plug is keyed. It's got a small indentation in the plug that fits up with a keyway on the side of the housing, and so it's impossible to put it in the wrong way round. It has to go in that way round because of the key. Right, I'm going to lift the valve block back onto the transmission. You can see that it slots in quite easily. It's a bit loose when it's actually set down. It's not until you get all the screws in. One of the important things to note is the where my finger is pointing now is where the selector indent lever locates with the manual valve on that side of the gear valving, and it's very critical to get that actually locked in, because if that's not engaged, then obviously you won't be able to select any gears when the thing's back together. At the front there you can see where my finger is, there's a speed sensing sensor. You don't actually have to take that one out when you disassemble the actual gearbox, but the one at the back you do have to take out. That's very much quite an important part to take out. So yeah, now it's just a question of putting the bolts in. All the bolts that accommodate the valve gear are the same size, but near the edges at the front there's some smaller ones, so you're very critical to get the right bolts in the right holes. Luckily I managed to keep them all separate, so that wasn't too much of an issue. I just put these bolts in. Right, here's the shorter ones that go around the edges, I think it is. There you are. You can just see that there's some shorter ones that go around here, and there's some short ones that go in through the front there, or the back should I say, of the gearbox or the transmission. And then it's just a matter of tightening them all down. Obviously you just tighten them down by hand first, and then there's a specific torque setting that you've got to remember to tighten down finally to the right torque. Just getting to that point now where we should be nearly there. That's it. It's just getting around the outside there. It's very important to get all these. Take a bit of time to do these, because if you rush it and miss one, then obviously you could be having problems. There we go. We're nearly there. This is pretty straightforward, the valve gear. Like I was saying earlier, when you turn the engine off, that complete area floods with oil, so much so that all that gear is under the oil level. Right, here we are. We've got it all in, and I've put the filter on. There's just two bolts that hold the filter in. There's one there, and then the other one is in the opposite corner, just here. That's pretty tight now. That's pretty firm in there. There's an O-ring just underneath there that seals it. Obviously that's it. You might notice that the gearbox is looking a lot cleaner on the outside, and that's because we've spent a bit of time cleaning it and so on, so and also painting it.